Has been providing superior civil engineering solutions and advice to developers, local government and service authorities across Australia. Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
Penalty conceding kind of situation, but Atkinson did well.
Have you seen a more freakish goal in A-League history? Riley McGreen with a score for your kick. It's one of the most amazing things we've ever seen. Come on, Ernie, on your feet.
You're listening to FNR, Football Nation Radio.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Maloney takes. It's in! It's Ben Watson! It's Ben Watson for Wigan Athletic! They've surely won the FA Cup! For Dave Whelan, for Roberto Martinez! You just cannot write scripts like this!
You're listening to the State of Our Football Nation on FNR. Times are changing. Pinch me. Lachie Flanagan, pinch me. Lachie's running the gun here at in the studios at FNR. My name is George Danikian. And State of Our Football Nation, almost ready to get going. Can you, I said to you, pinch me, can you believe with Ten's Festival of Football, what we're likely to see over the next few days?
Yeah.
I'm still recovering from the first game that showcased two of the best teams in the EPL, namely Liverpool, which just missed out on what would have been a quite historic quadruple. They ended up with a couple of cups, but they missed the big ones, the EPL Championship and, of course, the Championship of Europe. But they took on Manchester United under Ten Hag, the new Dutch coach from Ajax, and we saw something quite exciting in Thailand.
Yeah, well,
for an exhibition match.
It was a bit of a different look.
It was a different
we
look.
sort of got that first glimpse of the Ten Hag ideals
Yes.
slowly embedding themselves.
Yes. And you know what is very interesting? I saw a lot of players buy in. I know it's early days, and it was, as we touched on earlier, an exhibition. But the crowd really got into it. The intent that was shown by both sides was most pleasing. We're talking about professionals entertaining, and there was a global audience. That's the other thing. It's a pre-season. And once upon a time, you'd be able to say, and you'd know, Arsene Wenger would take the old Arsenal away. You wouldn't see them for a month. And then, of course, there'd be opening day of the new EPL season. And you had to sit there and say to yourself, wow, they look impressive. Well, you get no chance now to decide, how they're gathering themselves, because you're watching every training session and every exhibition.
Yeah, and they're not.
So that's a bit different, isn't
United in particular doesn't sound like, from what we heard when Marcus Rashford fronted the media today, that he's going to get much of a chance to enjoy the sights, sounds, and, well, I say warmth, but it's not really apparent at this time of the year of Australia, because they're having to spend so much time training under Ten Hag. They're physically intensive training sessions just to
mentally
get that very precise sort of man mark pressing kind of system truly ingrained within each and every one, and not just the first teamers.
Does that explain why so many of them are walking around Melbourne with headphones on to help them focus?
Well, maybe that explains part of it, but I don't think it explains all of it, George.
There are an awful lot of fans who are following them around. Almost every hotel, every coffee venue, every training ground, and trying to get some response. And we're hearing a lot of complaints, people saying, come on, interact with us. But clearly the players are on a mission, and they're probably kept pretty tightly wound up and within the confines of the travel party.
Well, it's a tough one, isn't it, George? Because I will say, as a counter to that, because there were quite a few people who were not pleased with the approach, and I can understand that. Although there were some images that I saw not long before going to air, George, that showed Fred signing autographs for dozens of Manchester United fans. But I do think that there's an understandable level of frustration. I mean, I would say to fans who are expecting these people who are inundated with thousands of people everywhere they go. Yeah. For you, obviously, it's the only time that they're going to be here and that sort of thing.
Sure.
But for them, they do this every year. They go overseas all the time. Even when they're at home, even when they're not away, there are thousands of people who've travelled thousands of miles.
Correct.
To get their autographs. This is a very stock standard thing for them. So they learn to tune it out. I think it's a shame that's the reality, but maybe we should be setting our expectations of Premier League football as just a tiny bit lower. I don't know.
The voice of Lachie Flanagan trying to make sense of some interesting things that are happening in Melbourne. It's State of Our Football Nation with George Danikian on FNR. Does that probably explain why so many sporting teams turned up today for a photo shoot? With Manchester United.
That really did ruffle some feathers, didn't it, George?
Yeah.
A photo with Marcus Rashford and Amy Park with, well, I was going to say all the sporting teams of Melbourne, but almost all. There were a few notable omissions, not least any of the Victorian A-League clubs.
Well, I wouldn't have thought there's too much of a concern there. Victory are going to spend a whole night with them tomorrow. They'll be at the MCG. There'll be a few photo opportunities, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, probably. I mean, look, I can on one hand understand the disappointment, because we do have a sensitivity to...
It's called a cultural cringe, Lachie.
To these codes, yes, to these other codes taking advantage of our sport when it's convenient, when most of the time they're very happy to look down.
Aren't they desperately, clamouring there just to be in the same spot as one of the biggest brands in the world?
But I guess there is a counter-argument to suggest that only goes to prove the strength of the code globally.
Yeah.
And would I have preferred to see Jake Brimmer and Josh Riston and Scott Jamieson just standing in the background? Maybe you wouldn't want to put Jamo at the back. But even so.
That's very unfair. Jamo will call us shortly and tell us that there's a problem. By the way, if you do want to talk to us, 9944 9999, or you can SMS us on 0428 933 345.
And as always, any of the live streams, you can leave a comment there as well.
Yes, you can. And in fact, you're monitoring as we speak. So should you wish to liaise with us, run something past us that we might throw to our guests or to anyone else that we're talking to, only happy to do it. And speaking of guests, Lachie, who have we locked in this afternoon for the next hour?
Well, it's quite an exciting program, because first cab off the rank, we're hoping that he is joining us shortly, is none other than... I say new Western Sydney Wanderers midfielder. I'm sort of struggling to know what to use as his official title. You can go for A-League legend. You can go for Sydney FC legend. But I'm talking about Milos Ninkovich. And look, we haven't heard a lot of interviews from Milos in English.
And there's a reason why. There's been a very, very good reason why there hasn't been an opportunity to hear from him.
There have been some
He's been in Serbia for the last month.
And there have been some very interesting interviews in Serbian, but now we get the chance to talk to him for really the first time since his touch back down in Australia.
Correct, and we're looking forward to it. And we thank Milos for giving us the opportunity to talk to him. It's an opportunity that we're looking forward to. So many questions. You know, Serbia, one of the smallest countries in the world, a bit like Croatia. There's only 10, 12 million people. And yet they managed to be, along with Uruguay and some of the other countries in the world, like Holland and so on, able to export great, talented footballers. It's actually incredible. When you think the number of stars or the number of potential professionals that come out of Uruguay, that come out of Serbia, come out of Croatia, it's extraordinary, which tells you they must have either something in the water or there's a nutrient in their vegetables and their food that we're not getting too much of in this country. And we want to talk to him about, you know, where he learnt his football, what drove him, who were the people that captured his imagination, and who did he model his game around?
Well, I having done some prior listening, I think he's a big fan of Zinedine Zidane, actually.
Well,
so
Zizou,
yeah. So bad, I mean, not a bad
person.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty logical one, I guess, if you grow up to be an attacking midfielder. But I'm interested to ask him about that. I'm also interested to hear from later on, George, from Jason Pine as well.
Yes, from Sky Sports New Zealand, who'll be joining us around about the 5:30 mark, which is around about 7:30 in New Zealand. Some very big sporting news coming out of that part of the world. Of course, they're gathering themselves for a very important World Cup, a Women's World Cup. And, the dates, they're closing in fast. And Wellington Phoenix are also gathering themselves because we're going to see a women's team join the A-League Women's this year from the Phoenix. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, they had a very, I think, quite impressive debut season, to be honest with you. In the A-League Women's, we saw some really, really great talent sort of get more of a...
But they got some new names.
A platform, Yeah,
nice, exciting.
Yes, great. I mean, Grace Jarley really had a breakout season. We're seeing her play pretty well for Heidelberg United now in the NPLW Victoria, which is quite nice to have a Wellington Phoenix talent, Alyssa
Giving
Wynnum
them a
as
chance
well.
to build their game and run a reasonable calendar. You want them to build games into their legs and to get them to mature their game. And the current A-League Women's practices have only been, how many games did they run last year? Was it 14? 11 before that. Now we're going to see 20 for the new season. So in order for these very talented women to improve their football, they've got to play football, haven't they? So that's why we're seeing so many of them now taking up the cudgels and wanting to play in the NPL or wanting to play overseas. And that's why we see so many of our Matildas not only having, as many games as they can here, but they're filling in their season. And, of course, you've got the professional leagues now in Europe and in Britain, because we can no longer say just Europe. We're going to say Britain as well. And we see them now. And, of course, Samantha Kerr at the very top, along with Caitlin Ford and others. They're playing for teams like Manchester United, Manchester City. They're playing for Spurs. They're playing,
Chelsea,
of course, for Chelsea.
Arsenal.
What are you going to make of Chelsea? Big moves going on. No longer the era of Roman Abramovich. The days of Disneyland may be drying up. There's a whole new crew that have taken over the keys to the club. Do you think they'll run it in the very same manner? Whatever you want, here's the money?
I don't know if they can. I don't know. I don't know. I guess the jury's out on that one. Maybe the signing of Kalidou Koulibaly, who some might say is
that's the latest news.
I don't want to use the phrase over the hill, but maybe past his absolute.
What do you make
peak.
of Raheem Sterling stepping from Manchester, from City down to play in London?
I think that's a really, really fascinating move. I mean, Raheem Sterling has ticked off. What is he, halfway through the Big Six now?
Yeah.
Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City.
Yep.
Look, it's a big move for him. Maybe a an opportunity to be more of a focal point at Chelsea as opposed to Manchester City side where you're just having to do sort of so much rotating through what is an all-star cast of players. I guess there is that to a perhaps lesser extent at Chelsea, but you think that Raheem Sterling is going to be favoured in that environment. And look, I think he's a player that gets quite unfairly maligned, particularly at an international level. And I think maybe, an opportunity to be that predominant, not predominant focal point necessarily, but one of the leading lights in a more consistent way will be good for him.
Well, don't forget there's a World Cup coming in November. And the EPL is going to do something it doesn't readily do, and that is stop the competition for a number of weeks in the middle of their season. And that's a rarity. And we're going to see Raheem Sterling playing for England along with a number of other English stars from other clubs. That'll be very interesting to see how they come together, how they play, what form, which English side is going to turn up? Is it going to be the side that went all the way to the finals of the European Championships, or is it going to be one of these sides that we've seen so often in World Cups play reasonably good football early on, and when the crunch comes, they fall to one of the more seasoned and stronger, countries like a Germany, like a Spain, or like a Holland? What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be very, very fascinating to see how that all shakes out. I mean, it's easy to forget as well with just going back to Sterling that he still scored a fair few goals in the Premier League this season. He's managed over 10 for a number of years now.
Were you surprised that Guardiola and Man City let him go?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
I mean, to just another club within the EPL. That's normally not done, is it?
Well, I guess somewhat alarmingly for Chelsea, maybe that's a signal of where City assess them to be in the title race order. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's a psychological game, but I don't know. I think I wouldn't. Raheem Sterling wouldn't be a player that I would let slip by so easily were I manager of Manchester City. But also, I'm not manager of Manchester City and don't know the things that Pep does.
What have you made of Arsenal's acquisition of another Man City player?
In Gabriel
Jesus, yeah.
Exciting. He's a player that I have admired for quite a long time. I think we have seen.
Will he be the steadying influence at the top, at the front, that cutting edge that Arsenal has, that young crop of talent? Could he be the sort of the leader of the corral? Well,
it's interesting. I'm kind of thinking of the discussion about Sterling as well.
Yep.
For Gabriel Jesus, it's about getting that chance to be the sort of star man, the leading man. He's had
he keeps telling everybody, I don't want to be the star man. So do we believe him, or is he just blowing off some steam?
Maybe in an off the pitch sense, but there's no doubt that he will be the first choice number 9, which is not a luxury that he has had in his time at Manchester City. It's been that kind of thing that's been eluding him all throughout that time at the Etihad is consistency, whether it's consistency of minutes, consistency of performance, consistency of position, or a combination of all of the three. Well, he's going to have 2 of those catered to at Arsenal. He's not going to have to worry about consistency of minutes. He will be first choice. Not going to have to worry about consistency of position. He's going to be the striker. It's just about whether or not the improvement of those 2 factors leads to an improvement of the third, which is getting him to perform consistently week in, week out. Because look, I think if Arsenal do get that out of him, they're going to be a very, very solid team. And I think Champions League, that hurdle that has eluded them quite a few times and in very heartbreaking fashion in the most recent season might be one they can finally leap.
Yeah, one within their reach. They'll be in the Europa Cup, which is going to be a departure from their normal challenges. But it'll be most interesting to see how that side takes the next step in its development, because Mikel Arteta he's normally been a pretty good student wherever he's gone, Both as a player, we saw him achieve some wonderful results. And of course, under Guardiola, he was a very fine student as an assistant, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. I mean, I think there was
he's
some
learning.
Deliberation from City at the time of his departure over whether we actually want him to leave, whether we sort of let him spread his wings as a head coach, and maybe we can lure him back one day.
Yeah, you got to be cruel to be kind. Listen, let's take a break. Got an opportunity to find out if Milos Ninkovich is going to join us. He was at a medical appointment, and of course, fighting the Sydney traffic is always a challenge. Even with Zoom, you can't always get the results you want, but we're keeping our fingers crossed that Milos Ninkovich, the brand spanking new Western Sydney Wanderers recruit, will be joining us. The man from who's made quite a reputation for the game, his game, especially at Sydney City over the last few years, or Sydney FC. It's been quite something to think that he would step just across the Parramatta Road and go from one end of the city, the eastern suburbs, to the western suburbs.
Well, this time a year ago, it was inconceivable, wasn't it?
Yeah. But there you go. It's happening. Which means that there's a whole, as we spoke to Alex Wilkinson a few weeks back, remember that it was he was getting ready to start his first training session with the club for this brand new season. And he was saying, so much for us to learn, so much for us to identify, and so much for us to take in, because this is going to be a brand new season with about 4 or 5 holes, you know? And he was waiting to see who was coming in the door. So some very interesting times, both for the A-League. The APL, the Australian Professional Leagues, now has its first big season coming up with all the encumbrances basically out of the way. They've got clear air. Now let's see what they can do. We're starting to hear some fantastic names being bandied about, whether they can come and deliver more than a sugar hit. Because I believe that if a marquee's going to walk in the door these days, they've got to do it, whether it's male or female, they've got to do it both for business, make themselves available for all those business opportunities, and as well what they can do on the paddock, which is, again, what you always wanted from your marquee. But I think today people want the experience. They want to be able to rub shoulders with, say, a Del Piero,
Yes,
at a corporate function. Which, if you had a Ronaldo or a Nani, as Victory have, now they're going to be able to run him out. And he's most fluent in a number of languages. And by the way, to all the French fans and French folk in our listening and viewing audience, it's Happy Bastille Day.
Yes.
So we'll take a break, and when we come back, this is State of Our Football Nation. Lachie Flanagan, George Danikian on FNR.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants, and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Penalty conceding kind of situation, but Atkinson did well. Oh my goodness! Have you seen a more freakish goal in A-League history? Riley McGreen with a scorpion kick into the top corner. It's one of the most amazing things we've ever seen. Come on, Ernie, on your feet.
You're listening to FNR, Football Nation Radio.
Maloney takes, and it's in! It's Ben Watson! It's Ben Watson for Wigan Athletic! They've surely won the FA Cup! For Dave Whelan, for Roberto Martinez! You just cannot write scripts like this! Maloney takes. It's in! It's Ben Watson! It's Ben Watson for Wigan Athletic! They've surely won the FA Cup! For Dave Whelan, for Roberto Martinez! You just cannot write scripts like this!
You're listening to the State of Our Football Nation on FNR. To all those craving free-to-air football, it's on tonight, Network 10, Channel 10 or 10 Play and Paramount Plus. Another of the Festival of Football games being shown. It'll be, I think, starting, 7:45, Lachie?
Yes, 7:45 at Cbus Super Stadium.
Cbus Super Stadium. That's where Manchester City played Melbourne City a couple of years ago.
It is indeed.
So we're going to see Jesse Marsh, the new man at the top. No Bielsa anymore at Leeds. The American has come over and did pretty well to hold the side, the club, in the EPL, which was extraordinary, I thought, because when you saw the number of injuries Leeds suffered in the middle of last season, there were many people querying whether the new arrival after Bielsa walked out the door could keep the side together, and he did. Remarkably,
well, they were ravaged, weren't they?
Well, Ted Lasso too.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would go that far, but
Wow.
and one of the players who made an so important contribution to that period, that saving of themselves from relegation was Rafinha, and now we see that he's been sort of given the blessing to head across to
so Rafinha, Calvin Phillips have now got new clubs. One is Man City, the other one is Barcelona. But it'll be interesting to see what we get from the American tonight, how he sets up Leeds for this brand new season, who they're likely to bring in. And, of course, it's Brisbane Roar that also is looking to, jump out on the front foot. You've got Victory tomorrow. This is exciting. You've got Melbourne Victory tomorrow, and they've had some big pickups. Paul Izzo, the new goalkeeper, coming to the club. Great pickup, smart young keeper, has proven himself. Tom Juric has decided to join
very
Popper.
Interesting move.
And who's the third member? And of course a young guy from Portugal who can still play. He's called Nani.
Yeah, that's the guy.
So this is exciting stuff. Let's see what turns out tomorrow. But tonight, if you want to see some football, and as 10 are proving, they've got a cavalcade of matches coming up that are going to excite. I'm personally looking forward to the game on Tuesday at the MCG. Next week, it is Manchester United taking on Crystal Palace. Patrick Vieira's Crystal Palace. So I'll let you more. Jason Pine joining us from just across the ditch, the man from Sky News New Zealand. Jason, welcome aboard.
Great to be here, guys. Always good to catch up.
It's always better for us to have you because you've had an absolute bumper sporting last few months. Can I just say, I don't know too many professionals in the game that can cover as many sports as you do with such aplomb and with such excitement. You're an enthusiast because you love the sport, but you also know your sport. And my God, Ireland, the All Blacks last week. Wellington coming up with some important games. You've got the Matildas, not the Matildas, the All Whites gathering themselves, and you've got, what do you call your women's team? Is it the Black Ferns?
Football Ferns?
The Football Ferns, our women's team. Yep. They too have got some games coming up. South Korea, they play later this year. I hear there's some exciting games also being planned ahead of obviously what will be a massive tournament for both of our nations next year, the Women's World Cup coming our way. So there's plenty on. But George, I often say, and you guys will probably concur that I know that I'm very lucky to do what I do, and 1,000 people would swap places with me in a heartbeat. 1,002 people would swap places in a heartbeat. So I do feel very lucky to get the opportunity to do what I do.
You're lovely. Listen, I want to run something past you. New Zealand played Norway in the women's competition, and you lost 2-0, correct?
That's right. Yeah, called that game, and it was a convincing win really for Norway. New Zealand were in it, but a convincing one.
Did you see Norway play England the other day in the Euros, the women's Euros?
I did.
Did you see the scoreline?
Yes, I did, and I thought it was a massive reality check for where the world footballing power base in women's football is. You know, that Norway team, as I say, I commentated that game for Sky over here, and while New Zealand were in it for long periods, Norway always looked the better side. And I think 2-0 probably was a fair result. If anything, it probably flattered New Zealand a little bit. But, you know, be that as it may, it was a competitive game from New Zealand. But, yeah, to see Norway go out, you know, with a full-strength side, they were missing a couple against New Zealand, and get absolutely taken apart by England, makes you realise that next year at this Women's World Cup, New Zealand, they're really going to have to play well to get out of their group. We don't even know who's in the group yet, obviously, but to get out of the group will be, you know, a major achievement, because New Zealand have underachieved in women's football in recent times. You know, they've had the players, there's lots of experience there and some youngsters coming through, but they just haven't managed to get the results under new coach Jitka Klimkova. So, yeah, the last thing you want is for a home World Cup to end at the group stage. Obviously, with Australia in it, we fancy that the Matildas will go quite deep, but we'd love to think New Zealand might as well, because I've always thought a World Cup works best when the hosts are involved for as long as possible. So, yeah, a bit of work to do for our football ferns.
Well, Jason, something that's really fascinated me of late with the football ferns as well, obviously Australia and New Zealand, both the co-hosts of this upcoming Women's World Cup, and that synergy is also extended to some Australian players in recent times. We've seen the likes of Ali Green and most recently Indy Riley switching their international allegiances across to New Zealand, helping you guys to bolster those ranks. And I think particularly in the case of Ali Green, there are a few Australian people who are a bit upset about the fact that we're not going to be able to call on her. What do you put that trend we're seeing of players switching across and considering New Zealand down to, and how do you feel about it as someone who's following the game?
Well, the second bit of that, I feel fantastic about it. I mean, the more the better. The more the better.
I wish I could say the same.
Yeah, I mean, Ali Green coming across was a real coup for New Zealand, and she got a debut in that most recent tour, and looks set to play for New Zealand hopefully for a long time. I wonder whether part of it is the fact that in Australia there are so many good players, and that's not to say that Ellie Green might not have made her way into the Matildas setup, but perhaps she sees a slightly less encumbered path to international football through New Zealand. So that's entirely her call, and as I say, over here we're delighted. I mean, a men's example, I guess, is someone like Dane Ingham and Jai Ingham as well. The Ingham brothers, they have both played for New Zealand ahead of Australia. So the other way, Gianni Stenson has, of course, played for New Zealand at Olympic Games level, but then shifted back the other way to now be in the Socceroos setup. So it does go both ways. Look, I guess when you've got dual nationality, there are always going to be choices to make, and people will make the choice that feels right for them. As I say, it's fantastic to have those players, committing to New Zealand. The deeper the player base on our side of the Tasman, the better as far as our national side's concerned.
Jason Pine, our special guest on FNR's State of Our Football Nation. Lachie Flanagan, George Danikian in the chair. You've seen an awful lot of sport, Jason, and we talked about Norway being thumped the other day. We all thought, oh God, that sends a shiver through your back. But you and I have seen an awful lot of sport, and there are times when. Do you remember a World Cup final between Brazil and Germany?
I remember a semi-final. Yeah.
And what was the score? It was about 7?
7-1, in Brazil as well.
I want to run that line past everybody. It can happen in sport. There are times in life when you get a terrific start and the planets align, and every constellation, maybe it's the Hubble telescope fine-tuning the focus, and suddenly everything comes up roses. And that was my pick of this game the other day. The Lionesses, the English women's team, have been threatening to do this for a while. It just happened to be against Norway. I don't know if they can do that every game. I think it's a very special game, and it just happened to come together.
Yeah, and that happens, George, as you say.
Yeah,
you know,
I've seen the All Blacks do it far too often to be true.
Yeah, that's right. But it happens, I think, less frequently in football, doesn't it? You sometimes get blowouts in sports like rugby league and rugby union, etc. But it doesn't happen as often in football because, you know, especially when a side like Norway is on the receiving end, they're not a bad side. You know, they're a decent football side. But as you say, you know, that World Cup semi-final in 2014, you know, in Rio de Janeiro from memory.
In Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, that no one saw that coming. And isn't that the reason that we love following sport, you know, because even if you think you know everything about the game and you think you know how a contest is going to play out and you are absolutely certain of a way something will unfold, something like that happens, a 7-1 or an 8-0 like we saw the other day. And conversely, sometimes you think a team is going to be far too good for another team and put 6 or 7 in the back of their net, and all of a sudden the other team, you know, comes out with a 1-0 win or something like that, a famous victory as far as they're concerned. So your football has the ability to throw up these sorts of things, you know, score blowouts or, you know, or upsets when a minnow overturns a footballing powerhouse. So, yeah, as long as that happens, I'm happy because it gives us storylines to continue to discuss.
Oh, look, there are so many storylines to come, I believe, over the next 12 months. And I have great faith in the sporting pedigree of both nations. I remember going back to 64, which was a long time ago. Lachie had no idea what I'm talking about. No. He thinks it's a great number, 64. It's a Beatles song. But 64, and I remember a guy called Schnell from New Zealand doing some quite remarkable things. He took on the world's best runners and beat them at their own game. And New Zealand has managed to do that time and time and time again. So I know it's no fluke. And I know it's not just in the water, Jason. It is to do with fighting spirits. It is to do with the mentality of the sporting teams in New Zealand. I just remember the story of the All Blacks, and it's quite remarkable what they've done and how they've achieved that superiority. How did they possibly lose to Ireland?
Well, good question. It's the question.
Did you see it coming?
Well, put it this way, it wasn't a massive shock. It was a surprise, but it wasn't a massive shock. Look, all this week we've been, you know, trying to unpick what happened in Dunedin. I was lucky enough to be on the sideline down there, so I got a pretty close-up view of it, and there was absolutely no doubt that Ireland deserved to win the game. You know, the All Blacks, regardless of who they play, you know, they're a bit like, I guess they're a little bit like Manchester United, you know, in that they have peaks and troughs, but most of the time you expect them to win.
True.
But what it has done is set up an extremely exciting prospect this coming Saturday night in my hometown of Wellington, where Sky Stadium, where Sky Stadium, as you know, you guys would have seen the Phoenix play there, you know, pre-COVID times and a couple of times during COVID, and just on that, it'd be good to see them back at home in the season ahead. In that arena, the All Blacks and Ireland will go head to head in a deciding rugby test match. You can't get a ticket for love or money. There are simply no tickets available for the game. Every single hospitality space, every single corporate box, every single seat in Sky Stadium, including an extra 4,000 temporary seats, have all been sold. They're talking about it being the biggest weekend in Wellington for quite some time as far as hospitality and retail and accommodation are concerned. So, yeah, it's going to be an epic night, just another big sporting occasion that we'll be lucky enough to witness.
So what you're saying to us and to the listening audience on FNR is that this is going to be a great trial run for next year's Women's World Cup.
Indeed it will be.
You're testing all the hospitality.
Yes.
See, I was just going to say, well, I hope that we're saying these exact same things about Wellington Phoenix when they get a full run at Sky Stadium. I want to stick with the Wellington Phoenix A-League men's side though, because it has been quite a fascinating off-season. There have been some big players returning, not least Costa Barbarouses. Obviously, Steven Ugarkovic making the move was one that surprised quite a few, but a really, really good acquisition. It hasn't all been perfect, though, that, you know, those incoming players have also been met with the departure of Reno Piscopo, Josh Sotirio, James McGarry as well, all making the move across to Newcastle Jets. How do you look over the moves that the Phoenix have made so far? Because it's hard to argue against the incomings, but Piscopo is a big loss.
Yeah, he's a loss. Look, no doubt about it. He was a player who I think, particularly when he was alongside Ulysses Davila 2 seasons ago, was a really, really good, good, solid, superb A-League player at times. And he had to take on the load a bit more himself in the past season with Davila gone and Gail Sandoval not quite providing the same impetus and, in fact, being played further back at times. So Piscopo's a loss, absolutely. I think Ugarkovic is a great get. He, for a long time, has been one of the better defensive midfielders going around, and looking forward to seeing him slot in at the base of the Phoenix midfield, particularly with Alex Rufus still many months away from returning from a serious knee injury. So Ugarkovic and Clayton Lewis likely to occupy those defensive midfield roles. Costa Barbarouses is a really interesting one. We all know what a wonderful player Costa has been and can still be. His last stint at the Wellington Phoenix was cut short, and for various reasons he didn't stay the 2 years. I just hope it's the Costa we all know and love. He, as I say, he can be a wonderful player, and he's a Wellington boy.
Yep.
His family are all here, and I know he's keen to to really put on a show. The thing that I think is most exciting is that Wellington still have 3 import spots to play with. Only David Ball and Scott Wooten at the moment are imports in this team. 18 players signed so far, so room for a couple or even 3 imports. A bit of mail around about Ollie Sale. We know how impressive he was in goal last year for the Knicks. There are some strong rumours that he may well leave either before the season starts or certainly in the transfer window in January. So there is that possibility. So I wonder whether one of those import spots might be used on a goalkeeper. Young Alex Paulson was exciting and showed a lot of potential, but is he ready to be the number one? I'm not too sure just yet. So, and the other import spots, look, I'd love to see another attacking player. There's also been a bit of mail around, and I don't know.
I'm glad you've brought it up. That's.
Who do you think I'm going to say?
Oh, it wouldn't be a returning, a familiar face, would it?
A familiar face, a familiar Fijian face.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah. There's been all sorts of rumours flying around. I've even seen a couple of fake graphics being put together, and posted on social media.
We've had way too many of those on soccer Twitter this season.
Exactly. So, look, Roy would be amazing. Whether he'll come back, I don't know. He loved Wellington. He loved the Phoenix. He loved the fans. It would be amazing to see him back. Wouldn't be an import either. He qualifies as a Kiwi now. So, look, if you imagine, if Roy came back and David Ball was still there to get the pulse racing. You'd have the likes of Ugarkovic and Clayton Lewis there. Ben Wayne, of course. I think there's more to come from him, and maybe another couple of import attackers as well. And all of a sudden, you're looking at a Wellington Phoenix side that'll be settled in New Zealand. Won't have to play out of Australia.
Correct.
And look, I heard you mention just before I came on air about some of the moves being made by the other clubs, and I think we've got, as per usual, a really intriguing A-League men's season ahead.
Yep, 100%. I think you've encapsulated much of the excitement and much of the questions that everyone is asking. How will they come together? What are they likely to put on the pitch? And the sound of Krishna. We spoke to David Williams, a couple of months ago at the height of the competition being played in the Indian Premier League, and he was telling us what an experience it was to see how the crowds were embracing Krishna. Yeah. So he has that magic.
He's magnetic, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's magnetic.
Absolutely. And you love to see it.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to see him back. And Willow, by the way, David Williams, what a great man. I mean, an absolutely brilliant player here in Wellington. He was another who, really embraced being here in Wellington. And it was a shame to see him go as well. But he's obviously done well up in India too. But look, Roy would be, he'd be a guy, you just chuck him on a poster and you'd sell 10,000 tickets. That's the kind of player that he is.
Oh, let's hope.
Yeah, and the fact that he started professional football late in his life means that even in his mid-30s, he's still got a couple of good years left in him, I believe. So I I'm reasonably confident the Phoenix have an offer in front of him. Whether he takes that offer, I guess, comes down to a number of factors. But yeah, without wanting to labour the point, we would love to have Roy back.
Yeah, no, I think football fans around Australia would love to see him back and really making a difference on the pitch. Listen, thank you very much for joining us and once again contributing to our Thursday night State of Our Football Nation. We wish you a tremendous week of sporting spectacle, and may you get some of the results that you're seeking, my friend.
Great to see you both. Yeah, let's hope so. I'll keep my fingers crossed, but you got to ride the highs and the lows, don't you?
Yes,
always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to talk to you guys. Look forward to doing it again soon.
Mate, very happy to send you an Irish T-shirt if you want one.
Oh, you're breaking up, George. Breaking up.
There we go.
Jason Pine, as usual, from New Zealand's Sky Sports team, just one of the great gentlemen in the game, loves his sport, and you can hear it in every word that he utters. He's terrific. We're going to take a short break. Looking forward to catching up with Milos Ninkovich.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants, and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
This long throw, goalkeeper's come, hasn't got there. Harry Kewell, and the pokes home by Tim Cahill. Australia have done it. 6 minutes to go, and it's a landmark moment for Australian football. Tim Cahill has scored the nation's first ever World Cup Finals goal.
You're listening to FNR, Football Nation Radio.
Ronaldinho gathers speed past Ramos. Elguera comes to meet him. He goes past Elguera. Ronaldinho at his very best. Unstoppable.
You're listening to FNR, Football Nation Radio.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants, and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Since 1998, Lanco Group has been providing superior civil engineering solutions and advice to developers, local government and service authorities across Australia. Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
You're listening to the State of Our Football Nation on FNR. Just a minute or two away from hearing from Milos Ninkovich, who's joining us via Zoom from Sydney. The man who's gone from Sydney FC to the Western Sydney Wanderers. Go figure. Look, he's a tremendous talent and has been a tremendous contributor for Sydney and has been right in the middle of that great era, this modern era of Sydney FC
being almost
the
golden age.
Well, it
of
was
the Sky Blues.
Well, They're going through a massive change, and Alex Wilkinson, their captain, told us only a couple of weeks ago, a lot to look forward to. A lot of young people knocking on the door, wanting to be part of the new Sydney FC setup. And there's tremendous depth, at the club. It's a matter of giving them an opportunity and to see how they've matured. They've already lost a couple of players, people like Marco Tilio, who, went and played half a season with them, showed them the enormous talent. And it was Melbourne City who stepped in and said, come to us and you'll get your regular football. And he's been a revelation. And speaking of revelations, I think we've almost got Milos joining us. We're just tidying up the feed from Sydney. The wonderful challenges of technology. It never ceases to amaze. Bandwidth and everything else just about ready. I think you should introduce him. Why don't you, Lachie?
Sure. Well, we're very, very pleased to be joined by a new Western Sydney Wanderers midfielder, but just all around legend of the A-League, grand final winner, Johnny Warren medalist. I could probably spend the rest of this show talking through the CV, but look, if you haven't figured it out already, if you didn't know already, it's none other than the man himself, Milos Ninkovich, who joins us now. Milos, a warm welcome to you. I hope you've enjoyed your off-season and, most importantly, the chance to go back to Serbia and visit your family.
Yeah, obviously, after 3 years, first of all, thank you for having me in your show. Obviously, as I said, after 3 years, I've been home. Obviously, so many things happened, and I can... To be honest with you guys, I didn't really enjoy it.
Milos, the month away in Serbia, an opportunity to catch up with your parents. You said to us earlier that you hadn't seen them in a couple of years. How much did that mean for both you and the family to see them?
It means a lot, of course, especially because my son Novak is 3 years old, and my parents didn't have a chance to see him, know, and yeah, obviously that was very excited, and as I said, so many things happened, I didn't really enjoy it, but I was happy to see my family and friends again.
Look, there's nothing more exhilarating than doing something you've been denied an opportunity to do, and to know that you've gone now, you've spent time with them, they've met their grandson, their grandchild. Nothing more exciting for them, I bet. I trust now that you're back and everyone is getting ready. Have you had a chance to do any training with the new club?
Yes, I came three days ago. Obviously, I still have jet lag. I'm doing individual program. Probably a few more days, and then I'm gonna join the team. But yeah, I met everyone there, all the players, the staff, medical coaching staff, and all people that are working in the club. And everything so far, everything is great.
Milos, just give me a sense and give the fans a sense of just how things look from your perspective now. You've been looking at Western Sydney Wanderers from the other side, from the eastern suburbs, looking across the city to another club that's wanting to make an impact. And now that you're at the other end, how do things look? What's the view like now in Western Sydney Wanderers?
Look, I don't know what's the view like in Western Sydney Wanderers. I mean, for the fans, In fact, that as you said, I played 7 years in Sydney. Obviously, I know that the Sydney FC fans will be also angry, but most of the people they don't know real story, real truth, and probably just my close friends and my ex-teammates know what really happened, and to be honest with you guys, I was really disappointed that I came after 3 years. I had a chance to go for holiday, and I didn't know what my status is with the Sydney FC.
I can hear what you're saying or what you're inferring. I'm sure there will come a time when you will have the opportunity to tell your side of the story. What I want to know, if I may, the opportunity to go back to Serbia, did that remind you of your early days? Where did the journey, the football journey of Milos Ninkovich start?
Yeah, the journey started obviously in Belgrade, in a small club, Čukarički. I started there as a young kid, and obviously after that, as 18 years old, I went to Dinamo Kiev, and I was there for 9 years. But yeah, everything started in Belgrade. Yeah.
Well, who was the role model? Who did you want to be like? Was it your father? Was it your uncle? Your grandfather? Who were the football spirits that said to you, you can do it and be like me?
Look, my father played. He was great talent. Obviously, he didn't play professional football, but I can't say that he was my idol. I would say that Del Piero was my idol down in the beginning. Yeah, and these two players, obviously, I really respect, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch. They were really, really great, and these two players were my idols.
Milos, it never ceases to amaze me, the talent that comes out of the small countries that have a fire and a love for football. You think of Uruguay and how many people and players they export to the world. Serbia does the same sorts of thing. What is it in Serbia that allows the country to send so many wonderfully talented players around the world?
Yeah, you're right. To be honest with you, I think that people in Serbia, Uruguay, Croatia, especially when you're young, you don't have these opportunities like here. The kids have everything, nearly everything. I mean, they have the PlayStations, the iPads, iPhones, and they all live like, let's say, normal life, in all other countries. I mean, especially in Serbia and probably Uruguay as well, the people live very difficult, and sport is the only options that you can really survive, and I think that's the main thing.
Football's given you a wonderful opportunity to travel the world. You've also played for your country, an opportunity to play in a World Cup.
Yeah, against Australia as well.
Against Australia. Yeah. What have you made? What have you made of the latest foray by Serbia? They're in the World Cup. They're playing in Qatar, and they've only got a couple of teams that they have to worry about.
Yeah,
one of them is
just
Brazil,
Cameroon, Switzerland, Brazil.
Cameroon and Switzerland. How do you think Serbia is going to go?
Look, obviously, I said so many times that we already make amazing results. We've been first in our group. Portugal was second, and for small country as Serbia, that's a great results. And obviously, the group there is not easy. Everyone there. It's a great teams. And it's gonna be tough, especially because first game is against Brazil, and obviously first game for me it's always the most important game. As I said, I'm looking forward to watch them, and hopefully we're gonna finally do something bigger.
Now and have known Graham Arnold. You know the game in this country because you've played here with many of the players who have been competing for Australia and vying to make it all the way to Qatar. They have survived. They're there now. What do you think Australia will do? Do you think they will make an impression, or will they find out that the competition is very red hot?
Look, as I said, for Serbia, I mean the same for Australia. Just to go there and play World Cup is amazing result. Of course, you can't go there and just I'm happy to be here. Of course, you're gonna try to make some good results. But I just want to say I'm really happy for Australia because I know the media and the people were saying that there is no really big chance that they can make the World Cup, and I believe in Arnie. I know I worked with him for so many years, and I knew that they're gonna make it.
When we reflect on your football journey, you've had a remarkable opportunity to, as I said, travel the world. What have you made of your time down under and the quality of the game here?
Look, I said so many times that first year when I came, everyone was saying that A-League is easy to play. But as you know, first year we didn't play well. Obviously, we finished 7th, and I saw that you need to be physically very prepared, to play this league. I played in France for so many, 2 years there, and I can tell you that maybe tactically and technically is not the same level, but physically is probably same, And I know so many players from overseas. When I speak with them after the game, they're all like, "Wow, it's so hard to play here," Yeah.
Let me take you back to 2010. It's the World Cup. You're playing Germany, and you actually beat them.
Yeah, we beat them after 37 years. And,
so
yeah.
what was the going into the game? What did Serbia? Did you think you could do it? Did you think you had the squad and the temperament to beat Germany at that time?
To be honest with you, especially that was my first game because I didn't play first game against Ghana. We lost.
That's right. Yep, you lost that, but you won this one.
Lost it. Yeah, and then we played against Germany. At that time, probably one of the favorites to win the World Cup. And I remember that I was so nervous because that was my first game, at the World Cup, and we were happy to draw, to 1-1, 2-2. It was great result for us, but we won. But obviously they missed the penalty. They had a red card as well, and even with the 10 players, they had some chances to score. And I can say now that we were lucky a little bit. And then after Australia, I have to say also that we weren't lucky. We had so many chances to score, especially in the first half. We couldn't score, and then obviously after we conceded 2 goals, and that was probably one of the worst memories I had as a professional football player.
One of the things that this football game that we love does to us, it beats us when we least expect it. I've seen teams play with great authority, with great dominance, and they can't put the ball in the back of the net. And suddenly the other side gets a break or a lucky decision that goes in their favour, and suddenly the game is lost. You've seen it many, many times, I'm sure. So it's part of the game, isn't it?
It's part of the game, of course. That's why, not here, but in Europe, the football is more popular sport, and everyone loves to watch. And, I've seen so many times, and I played so many games. It was the same, But as I said, that's why football is the more popular sport in Europe.
Milos Ninkovich is our guest on State of Our Football Nation on FNR, and we're talking to him about the game, about his experiences. Milos, can you believe that Italy's missed out?
I can't believe, especially because they won the
Euros.
The Euros, yeah, they won the Euros, but as I said, this is football. This is football. That's why you never know who is going to win. And that was probably one of these games that Italy had a chance, but I can't remember who they play against when they lost. I think North Macedonia. Or
Northern Macedonia,
Yeah, Northern Macedonia, yeah. And probably they had so many chances they couldn't score, and that's why that cost them the not playing the World Cup.
It's a reason why we have goalkeepers, and it's a reason why we have nets.
Yes,
to scare the hell out of the opposition attacking unit. Now, what are you looking forward to in the first few weeks of your pre-season, your first pre-season with the Western Sydney Wanderers?
Yes, look, I just wanna enjoy. Obviously, pre-season is always tough, especially here. 3 months, no FFA Cup for us this year. We'll see if that good thing or bad for us. But I'm looking forward. I still is a little bit. Everything is new, new players, new facility. Everything is new for me, and I spent 7 years at Sydney FC. But I'm sure in few days everything will settle down, and as I said, I'm looking forward to play for them. They have me opportunity to play at least one more year. And we'll see how it goes.
Where is home for you, Milos, in Sydney?
What do you mean?
What suburb do you live in?
What suburb? I don't know if that's a good idea to say.
Okay. We'll stay. The reason I was asking was I was concerned if you had to move home to play in Western Sydney, but you can stay where you are.
I can stay where I'm. I've been from the day one, and my kids are going to school just
fantastic.
2 minutes
I'll tell you why I asked, because when I first started in television a long time ago, I was from the eastern suburbs, but the radio station that employed me at the time was in the western suburbs. So I thought to myself, newly married, I'll buy a house out here. I no sooner bought the house, television came to me and said, come and work with us. So I had to go from the western suburbs to Milson's Point at the Harbour Bridge every day for nearly 9 years. Did you think I enjoyed it with the traffic every day? No.
I know. But for me,
that's why I was asking. That's why I was asking you.
Pretty much the same for me. It's half an hour from the training ground.
Do you have any idea what your role will be? Will you be playing in a similar position, or do you know if you've spoken to the management and the coach and he wants you to play a specific role?
Well, I don't know yet. Obviously, we didn't speak about that. Obviously, I had a very good conversation with him, and he wants me to be like a coach on the pitch, and to help young players, to develop and to be better on the pitch and off the pitch as well. To look me how to prepare for the training, how to prepare for the game. I'm sure that I can help them with some advices, and help them to be better, as I said, better players,
I'm thinking you did a similar job for the A-League All-Stars when you played Barca. You would have had a chance to talk to the youngsters and say to them, don't be worried, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy it?
I really enjoyed it. Especially to see so many fans, in Sydney, and I really love it to play against Barcelona. I played probably 10, 12 years ago in the Champions League.
Wow. And
after that, I started to be a Barcelona fan, because I saw that how they play with the smile. You can see that they really enjoy to play the game.
Milos, some of the young players that played in that game really showed us that they weren't frightened, as so many young players tend to be. They get a bit nervous. And they showed some wonderful form. I'm not saying they showed magic form, but they gave us something really exciting. What did it feel like for you to know that we have wonderful young talent here, and if we groom it in the right possible way, we're going to grow some wonderful football stars?
That's very important thing. I don't know if you know, but I said this probably 3-4 years ago that I have a feeling that the Australian clubs, they need to give more chance to the young players to play. They all talented. They have talent, but they just need the chance. I remember when I used to play in Ukraine. Even if they have no great young player, but their player, a local player, they will give him chance every game. You can't expect from young player first game to score 2 or 3 goals. You need to give him chance every game. And that's how he can develop. And I think the Socceroos will have a problem, you know. And if we don't give a chance to young players, then the Socceroos will probably have a problem, because if you look at Socceroos 2006, 2010, and now, I don't want to take anything from this generation, but if you look these two teams and the players they have, probably you can see the difference, you know. And and that's very important for Australian football.
Well, that identification and development of young talent
and support.
And support of young talent seems to be something that you're particularly passionate about. Obviously, we know you've got this playing year coming up with the Western Sydney Wanderers, but there's potentially some opportunities to be involved in coaching and academy setups after that year of playing as well. I get the feel from you that you're very committed to that side of the game, particularly in Australia, to help identify and give opportunities to those to that next crop.
Yeah, especially to give the chance the young players, young talents, that they are not, as I said, you know, in Europe, especially in Serbia and in Ukraine when I play, and even here, everyone's saying that you need to be big, you need to be fast, and then, as I said, I played. If you're big and fast, strong, that's great, you know. But I played against Barcelona, as I said, 2010, and then when I saw Iniesta, Xavi, and all these players, you know,
Messi,
you know, then you can see that the most important thing in football is brain, you know, and
skill.
Skill. You know, that's why I don't want to say change that mentality, but I want to give chance to. I was skinny when I was young. I was skinny, you know, but still I made good career. I can't say great, but I made good career. And that's one of the. Yeah.
Milos, how long into your career did you get the confidence, the mental acuity to say, no, I'm here, I'm good enough, and I'm worthy, and I can compete? How long did that take?
Probably last, let's say, 7-8 years, because when you are young, that's everything comes from the coach, you know. If you, as I said, if you play one game, the next two games you're on the bench as a young player, you're not really confident, you know. And but I always worked hard. I think that's the most important thing, you know. You had some coaches that believe in you, some don't believe in you, you know, but the most important thing is to work hard, and especially for young generation, because I think that, as I said, they have so many opportunity now. When I was young, we played, even when you finish training, we played football all day long, you know. Now it's I think now it's not just here. I mean, now even in Serbia, is you can't see the kids out that they play by themselves, you know, and
they're not playing on the street. They're not playing on the street.
Yeah, they're not playing on the street. They
or in the
park. Yeah. And for me, that's very important. I remember when I used to play, I finished training and then I play all day long. We had a tournament and stuff, you know, and I didn't have a time for lunch or dinner.
Yeah, that's called passion. We're talking to Milos Ninkovich, one of the most wonderfully gifted footballers to play in the A-League over the last half a dozen years. And I want to ask you, what did you think to yourself when you saw young Marco Tilio before he went to Melbourne City, when he came into your group at the Sydney FC? Did you think he was going to be this explosive young talent?
Yeah, Marco always showed that he's a great talent and very nice kid, you know. And
he's a good boy, yeah.
He's a very good boy, and I'm so happy for him, you know, because obviously he didn't get a lot of chance to play in Sydney, you know. And I understand that the clubs always chasing results, you know, they want to win, but at the same time, as I said, you know, the most important thing for each club should be to give chance to young players. And yeah, as I said, I'm very happy for him, you know, and I really think that if he continue to play like this, he can have a great career.
fantastic.
Milos, I'm intrigued by what you said earlier about the value and importance of players with a footballing brain, as you put it, because I think one of the reasons we've been so enamoured with you in the Australian game is because, to be quite honest, we don't produce a lot of players that have the qualities you do, that sort of technical craft, intelligence to see the pitch in a way that others don't. And I think one of our real ambitions is to start to develop and create the kind of players like yourself. In your view, based on your experience, how do we do it? Because you've been very involved with the Australian game, you've had your time overseas. How do we create players like Milos Ninkovich in Australia?
I think everything starts where they are young. I never really understand the coaches that in a young age they want to win. But then the most important thing is to teach kids to play, to teach kids first touch. I mean, this is the most important thing. If your first touch is not good, then everything else can't be good.
Correct.
I think people here, coaches especially, and even overseas. I mean, in Serbia and Ukraine as well, because I spent 9 years there. They always, as I said, they want strong, fast players, and that's great if you're fast, if you're strong. But first touch players with the football intelligence, that's for me. Even now, when you look at, you have only few players. We're killing young people with the young kids with the 2 touches, with the 2 play 1 touch, 2 touches. I think that's wrong, because now even in football, look how many players do you have that they can beat someone 1-on-1. Even I remember only Neymar, Messi, and maybe few, and they cost, if you want to sign them, they're like 300 million.
You're very true.
But
very
if
true.
you look back, I remember when I was young, when I watched Serie A, every team has some good number 10 or player who can go 1v1, and I don't know, probably they want to make football like NBA. I have that feeling, but that's why I wanna give chance, and I don't know, probably when I retired, I have so many ideas, and I would like to give chance that players who are not strong and fast. And I will tell you one story that I play against Xavi, and for me, obviously Messi is for me another level. But Xavi, I will never forget that, or Pirlo when I play against them. Looks like they have eyes on the back of the head, really. Yeah. And I was so impressive with them, you can't even come close to them, Every time when you come close, he's playing, he's moving the ball, and that was these 2 players, because Messi, as I said, I don't want to put him in this category because he's another level, but different,
It's about a freedom to play, isn't it? That sort of ease of being able to carry it more than two touches, because I think a lot of the times when we are bringing players through, those kind of players who do have that kind of freedom of thought and expression on the pitch, sometimes can, if they turn the ball over or something like that, it can be seen as a little bit of a risk that you create a mistake on the pitch. Do you think that maybe Australian football has too much of a fear of those kind of players who have the freedom to do what they want to do on the pitch and create in the way that you do yourself?
Look, I think it's everything. You're right, but everything starts from youth, from youth. For youth teams, and from when kids started to play, because everyone. I remember when. Again, I'm going to speak of Barcelona. Obviously, you don't have that quality. But if you teach players from young age that I have feeling that young players here they're scared to make mistake. And as I said, that's everything come from the coaches. I remember so many times I said to young players in Sydney, every time when they finish training, they run straight away to the gym. and doing bench and stuff. And I said, look, you should spend some time on the pitch,
Yeah.
And that's the problem here. That's the problem here. And hopefully that will change soon.
Milos, here's an opportunity when you get settled and when you get more relaxed. We'd love to have you back for an hour, a complete hour, to talk about your love for the game, what you'd love to see the game do in this country, so we can take the next crop of whether it's Matildas or whether it's Socceroos to the next level. I've heard people say time and time again, the only way to learn is to go out and make your mistakes. But as you touched on, we've got to make sure they fall in love with the game. So when that happens, they can put up with the challenges that come as you mature and go up level after level after level. And to hear you say that your first game against Germany, you were nervous and it was your first World Cup game, that's exciting too, because that tells the world that even the very best players get nervous. They shouldn't be afraid of that. It's part of the experience, isn't it?
Of course, you're not afraid of anyone, but you're just nervous, because as I said, you were playing against probably one of the best teams that back then in the world. At the same time, you're excited and you're nervous. I'm never afraid of anyone, and that's also very, very important for young kids, as I said, to. If you're not nervous before the game, then for me that means that you don't have passion.
Do something else.
I'm still like 37, and I still when we have a game, I'm a little bit nervous. When I lose that means that I lost the passion. And
time to step down. Yeah.
Yes.
Milos, can I just take the opportunity and say thank you very much. We know you had a number of commitments today, and we thank you very much for making every effort to join us. We really appreciate the contribution. Welcome back to Australia. Congratulations on your move. Let's hope that it's an injury-free season and an opportunity for you to showcase not only your wonderful talent, but to remind a lot of the next young crop of talent what it takes to be a really good professional. And we'd love to have you back on FNR, just exclusively 1 hour to sit there and to talk about the things that you love and what we'd love to see you aspire to do. And if it's coaching, come and tell us how we can make the game even better.
Yeah, for sure. I will be really excited to spend with you guys 1 hour, and thank you for having me.
My absolute pleasure. Good luck with the new season, and good luck at Western Sydney Wanderers.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All the best.
How fantastic. Milos Ninkovich, who took the time, we really appreciate it. It's been a difficult day. He had challenges of getting around Sydney, a medical appointment, commitments there, but he promised us he would be here, and he made it, and we thank him so very, very much.
Well, so many good ideas about the development of football. It actually gets you, like, not that I want to bring about the end of Milos's playing career early or anything like that, because I love watching him, but you actually
realise he has much to offer,
and you get excited to hear that someone who thinks the way he does and clearly has the commitment to a certain set of ideals that I think we don't have enough of in Australian 100%. Football. It's exciting to know that someone like that will be involved at the young level.
State of our football nation. We talk about all the sorts of things that promote the game in this country. FNR has been doing it for the better part of the last 5 years. Streaming radio, people were going, does it really work? Well, 5 years on, it continues to not only showcase some of the best voices and the best stories about the game, but there are new programs coming each and every week. If you enjoy the programming, make sure you stay with us. And if you have only heard about it, make sure you download the app. It's FNR, Football Nation Radio. And thank you very much for joining us this week. Back with more next week between 5 and 6 or just after, because as I said last week, we're probably the only station in the world that can cram 90 minutes into a 1 hour.
We do our best.
You're listening to the State of Our Football Nation on FNR.
looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants, and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Since 1998, Lanco Group has been providing superior civil engineering solutions and advice to developers, local government and service authorities across Australia. Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.